After the initial problems we had in the greenhouse tomatoes, we've now got a glut of tomatoes, which is fantastic. We've got some lovely red tomatoes. That one, plum tomato, I picked by accident, but I'll try and ripen it in the bowl here. So red tomatoes, orange tomatoes, and yellow tomatoes, which these are fully ripe. They're just different colours. So I had an idea for what we can do with these interesting yellow tomatoes. I'm going to make a sauce with yellow tomatoes, and I think I'm going to try and make yellow baked beans. I'm just going to chop them up roughly. I'm not going to bother peeling them. I'm going to cook them into a sauce and then strain it. So I'll strain out the skins and the seeds as well. So I'm just really going for the pulp of the tomatoes. The big ones I will chop up and quarter. Some of them are very ripe. And the difference between these yellow tomatoes, well, all tomato varieties have got something a little bit different about the flavour profile and the acidity and so on. Yellow ones you might think would taste less tomatoey, but no, they're very powerfully tomato flavour. You've got a really, really nice tomato aroma. Good balance of acidity and savoury flavour. Just very nice tomatoes. They just look yellow. They're just a different colour. And here in the downstairs greenhouse I have this pepper plant. And we've got some wonderful yellow peppers on here as well. Some of which are very nice and ripe. So I think I'll pick one of these and we'll use that as well. I'm going to flame roast it. Now, every time I do this, people say, why don't you do it on the gas hob? I find this way a bit easier and it roasts it more completely. Now the extractor fan's on, that's what you can probably hear in the background. And I'm just going to char this pepper all over with a gas blowtorch. You can do that in a grill or on a gas stovetop or even in an oven. I find though the gas blowtorch is a much better way of getting a really even charring. That now goes into a plastic bag and I'll just let that sit and steam, and the steam will loosen all that charred skin. The charred skin though, even though we're going to scrape it off, will still impart a smoky roasted pepper flavour to the flesh of the pepper. 313 grams of yellow tomatoes. Into there a little pinch of salt. And I'll just bring those to a simmer and stew them very lightly until they just all break up into a pulp. So while those tomatoes are just finishing stewing down, we'll get the pepper back out the bag. It's only had about 5 minutes in there, but we should find now that charred black skin just peels off. Now, as I say, this might seem pointless to char the skin and then remove the skin. I mean, you can eat that bit, but the process of charring the skin on the pepper will have imparted the smoky flavour into the flesh. So it's the pepper's flesh that we want, not the skin, which might be a little bit bitter. Now at the same time, I'm not going to wash this off because that would wash off some of that imparted flavour. Right, and then if there aren't many seeds in this pepper actually, but I will remove the few that are there. Okay, and that's it. So that's our lovely sweet roasted yellow pepper. And then that is going to go into the cup of my handheld blender. We'll need some liquid to help blend that, but I have a plan. These yellow tomatoes are now completely softened. So I'm just going to work it through this sieve because I really just want the juice and the pulp. Mostly sort of dry skin and seeds there now. Okay, we're at the point now where it's diminishing returns. There's actually not a lot of pulp coming out of that. That can go in the compost. And so there is the yellow tomato paste. That can now go in with the yellow peppers. And we will blend that in a moment. But first, for a little bit more yellow, just a couple of strands of saffron. Now this might look like red string, but the colour it imparts is very definitely yellow. So a couple of little strands of saffron in there, 4 or 5 strands. See, there's one on the board there, I'm not wasting that. So I'll just let that saffron infuse into that juice a little bit and then I'll blend it down. Right, so there we go, there's my yellow Or should we start calling this golden tomato sauce? I'm just going to let that cool a little bit and I'll transfer it into a container to go in the fridge while I soak the beans overnight. So that's the sauce prepared. Now the beans. I've got a cupful of cannellini beans that I've soaked overnight. And then I'll cover them with a bit more water. And then just to kind of continue or lean into the whole golden theme, just a little pinch of turmeric in there. I'll bring those to the boil and then simmer them for 20 minutes or so, just until they're soft. Okay, those beans have had about 25 minutes, and I can tell they're done just because they make a different sound when I stir them. They make a kind of soft sound. I don't know if that makes sense. Now, if you just look at these beans, they don't feel soft yet, but they are going to be cooked some more. Okay, so my drained beans into there, and they've got a lovely golden yellow colour. We're going to have this tomato sauce on them, and I'm going to bake them, because these are, after all, baked beans. Now, baked beans that you buy in a can are normally sweetened. They've normally got sugar or molasses or something like that in them. And I was thinking, what kind of sugar is yellow? And, well, honey. That's about 2 tablespoons of honey. I'll let the heat of the beans melt that, which will just make it easier to stir in. Okay, there we go. Because the tomato sauce is cold. Tomato and pepper sauce. I'm going to taste this sauce. We do need just a little pinch of salt. About a quarter of a teaspoonful maybe. Yellow tomato sauce is going to go in. So canned baked beans normally have paprika in them, which is made from peppers. I didn't have yellow paprika, but I feel like the kind of smoked yellow pepper we did is somewhere in the same vicinity. Okay. That's now going to go in the oven for half an hour and bake, probably about 160 to 180 Celsius, and I'm just going to let that bake with the lid off so it can reduce down and caramelize a little bit, but I don't want it to caramelize to the point where it changes colour significantly. Right, there they are. They've been cooking for about half an hour. They're just soft. Oh my gosh. They taste nothing like canned beans. But look at that. That sauce is just thickened with tomato and pepper. And probably some starch that came out the beans. Anyway, lid on. I'm just going to let them stand now for probably an hour, just for the flavours to kind of infuse, and then I'll reheat some in a pan to go on some toast. Okay, time to try these beans. So, a couple of slices of nice bread in the toaster. Meanwhile, we'll get some of these heating up. Right, lovely crisp toast. I'll just tent it a little bit like that so the steam can leave. A little bit of butter. And here we are. Golden beans on toast. Well, I think they look the part. I don't know. I think maybe the flavour is going to be the important part. They're really nice. It's very difficult to think of this as beans on toast because they taste so different to canned beans. Partly because obviously fresh roasted pepper is so different from paprika. But also the freshness and intensity of that tomato is coming through. I think it does need a little dusting of black pepper. And now that we've seen them in their kind of naked baked bean glory, a bit of grated cheese. Of course, you can't see the beans anymore. But that's good. It's really hard to judge these properly because baked beans are such an established thing, and these do taste different. But then I'd have been very disappointed if they didn't taste different because, you know, these have got homegrown ingredients in them. They're sweet, they are intensely tomatoey, the roasted yellow pepper is really nice, and the saffron and even the turmeric are not just colours, they are subtle flavours in the mix. So yeah, I set out to invent golden baked beans, and I think I succeeded. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.